project is going to be pretty interesting. I'm not really nervous about doing it, but what's going to take place is, as you can see, I already got the hood taped. I'm actually going to be cutting a hole in my hood, putting a heat extractor off of the ZL1 Camaro into my hood, which will, from what I've read, will allow the car to run at a cooler temperature, which is always a good thing. So I've already took out the hood liner, got my template already made. So now I just have to get everything kind of measured right, marked out, tape everything up with like a sheet, actually a couple of sheets, so that way the fiberglass shavings don't go all over the place. And as far as what it looks like, it is a heat extractor from SLP, and it's pretty nice. So I'm going to put that in, plus it'll give something black, like a black accent on the hood, which I think will look good. It comes with a drip tray that actually would go underneath it, but I don't know if I'm going to use that or not, or just make something, some sort of brackets for the back of this to pin it or sandwich it to the underside of the hood, and then put my hood cover back on. So that's what I'm working on today. Fun stuff. A little nervous, but it's all good. All right, I think I got it pretty much just about centered. It's one of them things where I did a bunch of measuring, measured from the corner here to the corner of the hood, because I know the box is even. And then from that corner to that corner. Then I came down here and took a measurement from how the hood bends right there to right there. Got the center point, marked it, it's there. Got the center point from the tape line there, going all the way across to there. Marked it and then centered the template. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark it with a marker and see how it comes out. Then I'm gonna measure again before any cutting takes place. Like the old saying goes, cut once, measure multiple times, especially when it comes to this. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark it, measure it, and see where we're at. Everything is measured, and it looks, the measurements are actually perfect. So that's good. So with that being said, that is where the hole's going to be. Probably gonna pull out the grinder, tape everything off with sheets and so forth, and see what we can get into. All right, and the hole is cut. I used a crate to prop it up, so the hole is cut. I got fiberglass shavings everywhere. Here is what was left. Man, this thing's flimsy, but it's going to look pretty nice. So it's going to look something along those lines. I'm just trying to decide if I'm going to put in the drip pan. I already cut the tabs off the back here because where it mounts up on the hood, there's a bracket there or support, and that won't work. So I'm just trying to decide if I even want to use the drip tray. The only problem is if I don't use the drip tray and I get caught in the rain, then water will get down there on the motor, but I never really even drive this car in the rain. So I'm going to see if I even want to fool with that right now or just leave it how it is for now. All right, I am pretty much done for the day. I'm not going to finish it, but I went ahead and put the hood liner back in, pinned everything back up. I got to finish fastening the hood liner on the bottom. I made sure everything was going to fit and not hit. I'll probably finish it next weekend, but everything came out looking good. Everything fits perfect. So I figured once I got cutting, I was at the point of no return. So I just needed to finish it. So Like I said, I went ahead and pre-fitted it already and it looks really good. So I'm going to be excited when I finish it next weekend. But that's it for today. It's time to go jump in the pool. All right, I got the bolts in the heat extractor and I used washers on the underside, washers on the top, a lock washer, and then a nut. I used, I think, 1.5 on the front, 1.5 on the back. Actually, it might be 2 inches, and then 1.5 inches, I think, in the middle. So yeah, 2 inches, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I also took some Gorilla Glue specifically for metal, as well as plastic, and I just put it down in there. I'm about to take thread lock, put thread lock on all of these nuts, and then probably let it sit overnight. That way it forms, gets nice and stiff, and then put it in place tomorrow. I just test fitted this under tray, or the drip tray, and I had to cut here and here because they were hitting some components under the hood. So by me making this notch here and here, it clears them. So that's just what I had to do to make it fit. So it doesn't look bad. It just kind of curved down a little bit on both sides. And what I did was I just cut it with some metal tin snips, a red pair and a green pair, rights and lefts. That's way, I didn't crack the plastic when I cut it because this plastic is pretty thick. So that's what I had to do to test fit, to make sure it sits in there snug and flush. Getting the final fitment on, I measured it, so everything is measured perfect, so it sits center. And I just kind of taped it so it wouldn't move. So that way when I put my drip pan on, I can go ahead and bolt it up and let it go. I double checked everything, made sure that the bolts weren't going to puncture or hit anything. I had to trim the drip tray, as I talked about previously, just to clear some of this stuff. Because again, this thing is meant for a Camaro, but I really liked it. And I wanted to make sure, or, you know, see if it would work for the Corvette. So, because I think it's one of the better looking heat extractors. All right, I got the hood liner back in. This piece here will actually clamp something along those lines. I'll have it sandwiched in the liner plus the piece that's on the outside. That way it has a nice clean look. I went ahead and drilled some holes here, up there, and up there. 3 holes down both sides. That way I can run a bolt through there, put a nut on it, lock washer, then a nylon nut, and should be able to sandwich everything, and it will sandwich it in there nice and neat. So we will see. And this is what it turned out to be. Looks really good. I got it snugged in there nice and tight. Looks pretty good. Camaro heat extractor on a Corvette. I had a feeling it could be done based on what I read on the forum. Just was a lot of measuring and a lot of cutting. But that's how it turned out. I think it came out really good. I cut the liner. I plasti dipped the bolts that are coming through. And then I had some adhesive that I used, and I put behind here, around the top, and around on the other side to kind of hold the liner in place. But that's how it came out. It looks good, I think. It's really hard to make it look really good up under the hood with the liner unless you took the liner off, but then I think it would look funny with no liner. But I had to trim, as you can see, down here, this part and this part of the drip tray, because this, as you know, or as I mentioned in the video before, this drip tray is not designed for a Corvette. This whole setup is designed for the Camaro. So before I cut it, I was closing the hood and it was actually hitting this area. So that's why I went ahead and I just kind of trimmed it up to where it doesn't hit, and it is fully functional. So when it does rain, the water will not drip from these vents directly down on the engine. They actually will drop into the tray and then pour out right down in here. It dumps out, not directly on the motor, so that's always a good thing. As you can see, I got the liner pinned up as good as I can, and it's not the most aesthetically pleasing looking thing, but I don't think it looks bad. Doesn't look bad at all. I think it came out good. Everything's pretty flush, as flush as it's going to get. It looks good. It just gives the car a different look. It wasn't that bad to install. The hardest part was to get the guts up to cut a hole in the hood, but I figured if I mess up the hood, that'll give me a reason to buy a cow induction hood, because that's really what I wanted to do. I just didn't feel like spending the money on a cow induction hood or for a good cow induction hood. So I figured this alternative was around $100. If it worked, great. If it didn't, that's fine. But I figured I would give it a go. But that's where we're at. Feel free to comment your thoughts on the whole project. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, click that bell, hit that bell, mash that bell. It is 2020, and that way you get notifications of more videos and modifications that I am doing to this car. We got a couple more shows that we're going to before this car is going under the knife. And when I say going under the knife, I'm actually going to take you guys along, but we are getting a full heads, cam, intake, tune, complete package done hopefully sometime in January. The car, well, we'll see what type of numbers it throws down, but yeah, it's going under the knife in January, and I'm excited, and I'm gonna take you guys along. So again, comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell for new notifications, and I will see you in the next one. Let's go!